Welcome to the Courage Barbell Unlimited podcast with your host, legendary powerlifter and strength athlete, Chad Ikes. For most, the journey of strength starts in the gym, but should inevitably expand through all aspects of life. Join us as we discuss all things strength. Now, here's your host, Chad Ikes.
Okay, tonight we're going to try something a little different with the podcast because I'm going to see if I can film video footage and put this up on YouTube as well as the normal audio. So I probably need to remember to look at the camera a little bit more. Tonight, though, I wanted to talk about one of my pet peeves, basically. I keep seeing all these videos on social media where people and coaches and athletes are bitching about everybody and everything. They're bitching about the way people lift, about their technique. They're bitching about the programs they're using. They're bitching about the exercises. They're bitching about their nutrition. And the part that really seems funny to me is that they're bitching about people that are very successful. I get that this is all kind of clickbait and that's what they need to do to sell, but that also makes me kind of sick too, because that means people want to see it. They're doing it because people are drawn to them. And this whole time that this is going on, I know a lot of really amazing, awesome coaches that actually really know their shit. And they're very positive and they're very open to new ideas, yet they don't have the 100,000 followers. They don't have the mass media and selling the programs that all these other people are selling. And I just think that's pretty sad in general about our society. And maybe I'm just seeing the negative part of it and I need to look more at the positive. I don't know. So one of the things I saw the other day was a guy was bitching about Louis Simmons and Westside Barbell. And of course, this is a little skinny guy, and he's like, I wouldn't take advice from some fat guy with a sword in the gym, and they just bagging on all the lifters from Westside. And I'm like, okay, so you're telling me that their program is horrible, that the original Westside program was right, that they took the worst parts of the Russian programs and put them together. So you're telling me all these bad things about the programming that they did. At the same time, they produced some of the strongest lifters in the world. At one point, Westside was the dominant strength gym in the country. Louis was training professional football players, professional track athletes. Louis was training the top of the top, some MMA guys. He had all these different guys, all these strength athletes who are all super dominant. But you're telling me that his stuff doesn't work and it's wrong. How exactly is it wrong? I don't understand that because I'm seeing with my own eyes. I'm using my own mind. I'm using my own thoughts. It works. Another guy I was listening to was bagging on HIIT training and Mike Mentzer. And first of all, Mike Mentzer brought a lot of popularity to high-intensity training. But, you know, he took it from other guys like Arthur Jones, and he was always pretty good about expressing where he learned it from what I can tell. And then the HIIT training also advanced out into guys like Dorian Yates. And Dorian Yates did his own little takeoff of, well, I shouldn't say takeoff. Dorian Yates made it his own. So he did things a little bit different. But there's people on here talking about how bad Mike Mentzer did and how bad the stuff he was doing and how it doesn't work. And even to going, we have the scientific studies now that prove this is wrong. And I go, but you're continuing to tell me it's wrong. Well, I can actually look at people that used it and were hugely successful. how can it be wrong if these guys did it and were successful? Like, how is that possible? It's not. It means it does work. The people are there, right there, proving it. Another one is Sam. I'm sorry if I mess your name up, Sam, but Sam Sulak, who's huge on social media right now. I've seen all kinds of astronomical numbers of what he's making and everything, but he does get huge hits and he has huge tons of followers. And he's a young guy. I think he's 21 or 22, and he's built good. I mean, this guy's got a huge future in bodybuilding. But these people get on there and they bag on what he eats. They bag on how he trains. They bag on how he does exercises. And the whole time I'm going, if he's so wrong, how does he look that good? You can talk about drugs. You can talk about genetics. You can talk about whatever you want. You're telling me what he does doesn't work and it's wrong. Yet with my own mind and own eyes, I'm seeing that it works. Because he's built like a brick shithouse. And for his age, that's phenomenal. And then again, guys will go, our studies show that training doesn't work. Our studies show that nutrition doesn't work. And now at the same time, I'm seeing all these crazy ideas on social media. You know, if you eat your rice and you cook it the specific way, you're going to lose weight. If you're not taking the right amount of, turmeric, you're not making the progress you should. If you take this one supplement, you're going to lose weight. You know, if you do this one exercise, you're going to be awesome. And it just goes on and on. And, hydrogen water, you have to have hydrogen water. If you have hydrogen water in weeks, you're going to have all this energy. There's just all these crazy things out there. And I have to believe that society is eating it up because, they're doing it for a reason. You know, the best reason I can come up with why people do this is to make more money, to get more hits, to get more people to buy their program because they're so like, well, I know everything. You got to listen to me. This all stuff is wrong. They're selling themselves, but to me, they're used car salesmen. And I don't understand it. I don't understand why people are eating it up. I don't understand why it's so popular. Because like I said, to me, I'm a pretty simple guy. I'm blue collar, keep it simple, stupid, principles of KISS, like all that stuff. I believe in that stuff. And if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. So I don't understand why society's doing this, and it kind of bugs me because I know guys that are actually really good at their jobs, and women that are really good at their jobs, but they don't make the money or get the publicity that these people get who are kind of big used car salesman loudmouths. So it's and even when I hear science, we got the studies, we have the studies. It's funny because every time I look up a study, I usually have a bunch of questions of, well, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do this? You know, what's the control? If you're saying this works and your study shows it works, where's the study showing the other way didn't work? Or comparing how the two work together. Like one study I was looking at, it was a study on volume training and this specific volume and this specific reps. And as I'm reading the study, they're like, we did this study with these accomplished lifters. And in the study, I find out accomplished lifter means they squatted 315. I'm like, a 315 squat? That doesn't make you an accomplished lifter. That's actually kind of tells me you're still pretty new. Like a 315 squat's not that impressive. Or they'll have a study where it's I've read some other ones where it's on volume training, and at the end of the study they're like, it's way better than high intensity, one rep set. And I'm like, okay, well, where's the one rep study that you're comparing it to say that yours is better? Or who did you do the one rep study on? Were they high advanced lifters that can actually push to that limit? And then I see like all these programs and they're like, we did a study on this strength training program and it worked better if they did this. And I'm like, Okay, but that study was on 10 people. Like, so you're telling me 10 people when there's millions and millions of people going to gyms and millions of people training, your study on 10 or 15 people is supposed to make me believe that that's true? Especially when I have actually been to the top. I was one of the greatest powerlifters in the world. The stuff you're saying, I saw a couple guys doing. I saw a whole bunch of guys doing other stuff. So you, just because it's a study and you say it's scientific and it got peer reviewed, I'm supposed to believe it? Just doesn't seem to make sense to me. And now this takes me down the road, the path that I've been to the top of the mountain. And I like to think of myself as a intelligent person that's always trying to gain knowledge and trying to understand things and trying to look at things. When I was on the top of the mountain, I took every advantage I could to talk to all the other athletes I could, to talk to the best athletes I could. I never once thought I knew everything. There's times where I thought I knew a lot and life showed me I didn't. And I took that lesson to heart too. So I was always looking around and studying. And one of the things I know for sure, there is no one specific type of training, one specific type of food, one specific number of reps, one specific number of sets. None of that's true. When I was lifting and I was at a meet and say there's 20 of the top super heavyweights in the world there, none of us trained the same. We all did things different. There was some common stuff, but it had nothing to do with the sets, reps, training, percentages. And come on, I mean, honestly, if we're going to look at this, if we're actually going to take an intelligent look at this, it just so happens that 8 is the magic number of reps, or your volume needs to be this specific amount. We're human beings. The fact is, we all have similarities, but we all have differences. Yes, we all have humeruses. Ours are all a little different. We can all have basically the same ball and socket hip joint, but some people's socket is deeper than other people's. Some people's ball is a little different than other people's. So your range of motion can be completely different, even though it's all basically the same. You've seen people that have tons of energy when they wake up in the morning. And you've seen people like me who wake up feeling like crap. I've seen people that have natural metabolisms that are crazy fast. I've seen people like myself that have fairly slow metabolisms. Everyone is different. No matter what they say, you cannot tell me there's one program that's the best for everybody. Even in my years working in physical therapy as an aide and a tech, you know, they set out these protocols for recovering from surgeries and such, or from strokes or whatever. They never were the same. They all had to be adapted to the person. Simply their mindset had a huge effect on how fast they were going to recover. So I feel like there's all these people trying to say, here's the one thing and I'm right. I disagree. I don't think there is a one thing. I feel like the best coaches in the world are the coaches that know their shit and go, listen, I got to get to know you. I got to start working with you, and I'm going to formulate a process over time that's going to meet your needs to get the best out of you. And I actually had a conversation with a good friend of mine, AJ Roberts, who I have a huge ton of respect for. And he was talking about imposter syndrome. I believe it was on the Elite FTS podcast with Dave Tate, who's also a friend. And I think imposter syndrome is real. And I think I have imposter syndrome. Mine is affected deeply by my sleep and how bad it is at the time, and by my depression. When things are bad, I really question myself and what I know. When things are good, I'm more positive. But in the end, my outlook is that, man, I still have a lot to learn, but at the same time, I know a lot. And I'm not going to take, if a client comes to me, I go, okay, here's the things that I know. I know all this right here, but I need to learn you. I don't have faith that I have and know the one program for you right now. I have faith that with my knowledge, I have a good idea where we can start. And I have faith that no matter what happens, I'm going to figure out how to help make you be the best. Because I've had the struggles and I've struggled with other athletes. And because thankfully I have a lot of people that I know. And when things come up, if I don't have an idea, I can call these other people and I can talk to these other people. And I've talked to them before and about the things that they've struggled with and how they've come past it. And so it's not even my own wealth of knowledge, but a wealth of knowledge with the people that I have. And the people that know me know that if something comes up, call me. Like I may not know the answer, but I might have an idea that sparks something. I'm more than willing to try. I think that's the difference between knowledge and intelligence. I would say I have more intelligence. Even if I don't know the answer, I'm going to figure it out. Because that's what I do. That's what I always did in my whole career. And even going back to all of this so-called science of strength training, well, you know what? When you're 20, it's going to be different than when you're 25. And when you're 25, it's going to be different than when you're 30. And when you're 30, it's going to be different than when you're 35. What got you to a 200-pound bench probably isn't going to get you to a 400-pound bench. What got you to a 400-pound bench probably isn't going to get you to an 800-pound bench. So no matter what you do, things are continually changing. Things are continually getting different. If you have kids, now your life changed. If you have a different job, now your stress changed. No matter what you do, things are always changing. They're always going to be different. So you need a coach that can adapt to all those situations and isn't set on one thing. This also goes back to believing in something and believing in yourself is probably the one common thing. That's a whole podcast on its own right there. But you could find a coach with the greatest program and all this knowledge, but if you don't believe in him, it's probably not going to work. You can find a coach that might not know hardly anything, but if you truly believe in him and you truly believe it's going to work, I bet you have great results. This goes back to the science of the placebo effect again. And there's been a lot of studies. I was listening to one gentleman that actually worked for the pharmaceutical companies. And the reason he quit is that he kept researching and doing these studies. And every time he had a placebo study, he couldn't believe how close the placebo study was to the actual medication. He's like, these people are getting better just from believing they have the medication when they don't, they just have a sugar pill. So it kind of let him down on the whole drug industry, and he decided to go a different way and go, well, if the body and brain can do these things without actually taking the pills that have the negative side effects, maybe I need to go down that route. Completely made sense to me. So, trying to wrap all this up in this podcast, I wonder why people can't be more positive. Say, for instance, linear periodization. When I first started powerlifting, I ran linear periodization. And I had ran linear periodization a couple other times throughout my lifting career, life, I should say. But I never really liked it. And when I first started powerlifting and I was running linear periodization, I had plenty of reasons Why I didn't care for it at the time, I didn't know or didn't trust myself enough to adapt it the way I've changed my training now. And now I'm a lot conjugate. But still, I cannot get on here and go, linear periodization is bad, linear periodization sucks, because I happen to know the GOAT of powerlifting. And the GOAT of powerlifting trained linear periodization pretty much throughout his whole career. And it worked. That's why he's the GOAT. That's why he's the greatest of all time. I actually had a chance to sit down with him once and I asked him some questions about linear periodization, and he actually had really good answers for me that made me go, those are things I didn't do when I ran linear periodization. So maybe it wasn't linear periodization that was the problem. It was how I ran it. Also, it goes back to, what do you believe? What do you like? I don't really like the idea of linear periodization. I don't like the idea of the waves. I don't like the idea of running all these different blocks. So if I don't really like it, I don't really want to do it, it's probably not going to work the best for me. Doesn't mean that the programs are wrong. Doesn't mean that they're bad. It means that they might not be the best for me. If I had an athlete that came to me and said, hey, Chad, I know you like conjugate, but I really enjoy linear periodization. I would like to work with you because of your technique skills and just having you coach me and watch me. But is there any way we could do linear periodization? I really like linear periodization. I'd be like, hell yeah. I can run you with linear periodization, not a problem. Because to me, having him do something that he enjoys is more important than running the exact program that I prefer. And of course, we would sit down and talk. I would ask him why he likes it, why he prefers it over another type, and find out the things that he does. And maybe there's middle ground. Maybe we could go the other way. But in the end, I would train him on linear periodization. Because, first of all, I know it works. It has worked for some of the greatest lifters in history. To say it doesn't work because you don't like it is kind of stupid. I mean, that's not intelligent. And it honestly would be fun for me to put my own little tweaks on it and see what else we can do to get the most out of this athlete. Because in the end, that's my biggest concern. I want to help people meet their goals. I'm not so hard-headed and stubborn that it's not about me. It's about them and what they do and how well they achieve their goals. I think I can learn something in everything I do. So to me, it's still a learning experience that's going to give me more knowledge to help coach other people later. Perfect. So I can't understand the people, the coaches that get behind one style and that's it. If you come to me, I'm going to try to do a form of conjugate because I like conjugate. There's reasons I like conjugate. The adaptability, the malleability. I think I can tweak conjugate to meet everybody's needs and have everybody do good. But I can't run the same program with everybody. I have to change it. It's going to be different because everyone's different. So I think a coach that is so rigid on their program and their nutrition, I think maybe they're not the best coaches. I want a coach that can bend and twist to the client's needs and pull the best out of them. If I have an 18-year-old kid who has a part-time job or is just going to school and not working, I'm going to train him completely different than a 25-year-old man that has 3 kids, supports them with a stressful job, because simply their lives are completely different. And if you're so set on this way works, this is the recovery rate, this is the percent you need, go at this RPE, I think the more rigid your program is, the less likely it is to benefit more people. So if you have a program that you can adjust and change depending on people's needs, and you look for, and you do that, you want to explain to your clients, here's the program, but here's how to tweak it to your needs. And if things aren't working, if you're not progressing, here's what we can tweak, change, and do different. So I want a coach that has done more things different ways, experienced them, coached other people with them. And in the end, I just don't think I don't think as a coach I can get up there and bag on all these people just to get more clients or to make more money. So that makes it harder for me to understand how these other people can do this. And there's even a couple that I actually think are good coaches. And when I've talked to them, it seems like different than what I see on their social medias or whatever. Which leads me to the fact that they found what they needed to do to make money, and they want to make money, and I'm all for making money. I think it's great. For me, it's just different. I'm gonna come at it with being true to who I am, true to how I think coaches should be. And I training programs are great. They're important. But so is the mentality of the person. So is working with that individual, their mindset, and making them the best they can be, training and in life. And I think all that stuff's important. And maybe I'm a idealistic fool, but that's what I believe, and I'm gonna stay true to my beliefs. I always have. Throughout my career, I've never worked with a company I didn't believe in. I've never taken on a sponsor just for money. I've turned down some sponsors because I didn't believe in what they were selling or their approach to things. I mean, that's one of the reasons I stayed with Elite FTS and still work with Elite FTS. And I'm working on another article for Elite FTS right now because I slacked off the last year. But it's because I believe in their principles and who they are and the job that they do. And I think that means something. So anyway, if you're listening to this, which I hope you are, well, if you heard what I said, you are listening, aren't you? Just think about that next time. When you go look at something or you see a clip and these people are bagging on everyone else, just ask yourself, is the person he's bagging on like successful? If he's saying that Louis Simmons is a horrible coach, how many 1,000-pound squatters did Louis Simmons came out of Westside? How many huge totals came out of Westside? How many massive benches came out of Westside? How much information came out of Westside that actually changed the sport? Maybe you don't like the way he coached. Maybe you don't like the way the gym was ran. Maybe you just personally hate Louis. I don't know how you could. I always got along with him really well. But then express your feelings, but don't bag on the gym. Don't bag on what they did because they produced. And I hope that if you see clips like that, you go, wait a minute, that doesn't even make sense. You're telling me it doesn't work, but you're showing me people that it did work for. So maybe you're completely full of shit and I don't even want to pay attention to what you're saying. And then maybe these guys won't start making as much money, and maybe the guys that are actually smart and intelligent will make some money. And I truly believe that the best of the best will have a little bit of imposter syndrome, and I think that's a good thing because it keeps us learning. It keeps our minds open. I even my clients, I want my clients that I have to talk to me. And if they have an idea, and my clients know this, if you have an idea, let me know. Let's talk about it. Maybe we can try it. Maybe I hate it, but we still try it. Maybe I like it, but I'm like, hey, what if we did this other tweak to it? I'm open to any ideas. I'm open to new concepts. Yes, I have my favorites. Yes, I have my experience. Yes, there's a lot of stuff that I tried. But the funny thing is I know that when I used to hang out with the best of the best and we would talk, somebody may go, hey, Chad, have you done this or this? And I go, yeah, I did it. You know what? It didn't work for me very well. Like, how did you do it? And they're like, oh, I did it like this. And I go, I'm going to keep that in mind. Because even though that didn't work for me at that point, it might work for me later. And it might work for somebody else I can help. And when I started coaching, all those things came back into play because they might help the clients that I'm working with. And I think that's important to keep that open mind. So those people, I wish that these coaches would go, listen, I don't really like linear periodization. I don't like it because what if something happens? What if you get sick? What if you feel like you're overtraining and you want to back off a little bit, but now you have the set program? What do you do? And a lot of people stress out about that, and I would rather just avoid that stress. And I don't really like it because I'm like letting myself recover, but also get a little bit weaker. Now I'm going to build my strength up. Then after that, I'm going to let my strength come back down. Then I'm going to build it up. And I don't really like that idea of doing that. I would rather have a little more consistent program. So I don't really like linear periodization, but lots of people have done it and it works good. And also, now here's why I like this other program. And here's why I coach this other program. And I think people should lean towards this. I think that's a much better way to come at this. And I struggle with the scientific part of it. I struggle with all these people that go, oh, my studies show this. Because I grew up blue collar. And I remember an instance where my father was a carpenter and I was on the job site. And I remember like a guy, he's like, we can't do this. Like the plans are here, but we can't build this the way he wants it to be built. It's not possible. And so he called the architect up and the architect, yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'll come out and show you. And the architect comes out and goes, yeah, you're right. That won't work. Man, what are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? And my dad would be like, well, what about this, this, and this? And the architect goes, yeah, yep. Let me go back and change the plans, run the numbers. Yep, that'll work. So there's a difference between knowledge and a difference between intelligence. I lean towards people with intelligence over knowledge. You can have a lot of knowledge, but can you use it? Can you make it work? Maybe my dad didn't go to school to be an architect, but he was really good at his job. He knew a lot because he was always trying to learn. And he had a lot of experience. And he had built a lot of stuff. So I think it's a combination of both of those. I'm not going to turn down somebody that has a bunch of knowledge, but I'm going to discuss with them and I'm going to try to work it out. And if they go, well, we had this study and I see holes in the study, I'm going to go, but what about this, this, and this? Why didn't you guys test this? Why didn't you test this? Why do you assume that it's this when it could be this or this? You really got to watch studies, man. You got to watch where they come from and who's doing them. I remember they just did one on the nutritional pyramid, and I don't know, Lucky Charms came out ahead of like beef, something crazy insane. And it was like, yeah, but who funded the study? And you find out it's the school did it, but it was funded by General Mills or whoever the hell else it was. I don't really remember who it was, but you got to watch that stuff. So let's just take time. Like, man, when you're going through Instagram and look at this stuff, I know it's easy to want to believe all these things, and it's easy to want to believe this and that. There's no miracle pills. There's no miracle exercises. There's no miracle programs. There's no miracle drugs. Strength, weight loss, weight gain, all these things take time. They're about consistency, intelligence, knowledge. It's about learning your body and what works best for you. That's the best way to approach it. maybe you hit on the program that actually works best for you right off the bat. That would be awesome. Never worked that way for me. I had to try different programs. I had to tweak different programs. And it took a long time to really find what worked for me because I have some extreme things to deal with. But I think in the long run, for most people, if you open up your mind and you use your intelligence and you think it's too good to be true, it probably is. There are no miracles. So I need to be consistent. I need to find what works. I need to understand it. And even to the point of, I think even if you're super intelligent, like I know coaches that have coaches. A good coach does multiple things. And one of the things is keeps us in check, keeps us from letting our emotions take over and using our logic and takes that outside perspective. If we're trying to get ready for a competition and we want to hit a certain number, we're emotionally attached to it. We might not make the best decisions. The coach can look at you and go, listen, no, you got this. You're good. I need you to deload this week. Or looking at you going, hey, you're a little too confident. I need you to pick it up. And that's just the way it is. That's a good thing. So thank you for listening. We'll get this one up on YouTube. I'm really going to try to expand this. Right now it's just me. So like I have cables and everything running all over, and I'm hoping that everything works out and I can get both of these posted. And, please check out Courage Barbell on YouTube. Check out CourageBarbell.com. We buy some t-shirts or shorts or stickers or stuff that we have up there. I got a lot more things coming up that I need to get on there when I find some more time. Check out my Instagram, which is just Chad Ikes. I post a lot of different stuff on there. I'm very big on mindset and mental well-being. And I think that's part of fitness and strength training that is seriously lacking in terms of coaching. So I want to explore that more and find better ways to coach people through that. And that's about it for now. So until next time.
Thanks for listening to the Courage Barbell Unlimited podcast. For more information, please visit CourageBarbell.com. Until next time.